Hello, I'm James Billiter, and I thought I would introduce myself, but also my messy home studio. I started out in graphic design, and I realized I was really getting more and more into doing illustrations, and then I was introduced to printmaking. And so all these things have been kind of part of my life path. As I don't know if I call myself a visual artist now or uh, a maker person, or I don't know. I haven't really figured that part out, but maybe just an illustrator that is also a printmaker. I'm not sure, to keep it easy, but I'd show a little bit of my process, as well as maybe I'll talk a little bit about this cool project I did last year with bicycle playing cards, where I got to adapt my city-based illustration style to an entire deck of cards that featured global icons and landmarks. So this is the deck. It's Architectural Wonders of the World, and it was just so awesome. I love to use a lot of gold ink, metallic inks in my work, and this was really fun because I could also have an emboss plate for the front. And there's some crazy dog stuff happening outside. I'm going to leave it in for authenticity. All right. And the other cool thing, too, is when I designed the tuck, I got to add a lot of fun little details like this global landmark pattern in the background, as well as the back of the box features kind of the card back, like a design based upon the card back. And these were fun as well because you have a couple ad cards in there. I also have one of the cards shows a lot of the basically my rationale. This is really cool. Bicycle kind of they gave me full reign to come up with the concept. And what I did is each suite, like the diamonds are the kind of the latter part of the 20th century going into the 21st century, as well as then you have 1900. The first part of the 20th century is the spades, and then I have from 1000 to 1900, as well as landmarks pre 1000 CE. As you can see here, there's a bunch of like Tihal, Pontegard, City of Petra. I got the Moai on here. And it was really cool too. What I tried to do is really kind of have things from all over. Like I would try to have a couple from Europe, a couple from Africa, a couple from Asia, and then a couple from North America and a couple from South America. And then what I tried to do for the seventh continent is something in the Pacific Rim, but it does skew Australia a lot. As you can tell from the last shot, I use a Wacom tablet. I've been using one of those for about a decade or so, and that gives me some kind of feeling of kind of drawing while I'm working. And then I do also love to work in Adobe Illustrator. This is one of my images I built up for many years, and I kind of keep evolving it. I'll add in new landmarks, but basically, I little by little I would start to illustrate different buildings throughout the city. In all reality, I actually started one of my very first ones was Old St. George up here for the 2004 CEA Awards. But what I do is over time just start to add a lot of the places I love. And the way I built this as well is kind of fun because I kind of built it up almost not exactly street by street, but getting there. And then even if we go into one of these, let's see here, if I just isolate on. Now I am using a little bit of blocking out here. That's because when I do laser cuts, Sometimes I will use a white shape to make sure that everything doesn't engrave. But basically, this is almost like being a faux architect where I'm drawing a very frontal elevation almost of each facade. And then I think one of the interesting things with the style is the fact that you do have all these perfect frontal buildings kind of assembled stylistically in this way. And then even check this out. This is with all the layers kind of zoomed in, or like on preview mode of all the different points over all the layers, but basically, it's piece by piece here. I do like using Illustrator. Basically, it gives me a lot of control, and it for me also kind of complements the Wacom tablet because I can kind of draw and really create like a very tight line between 2 points, and I love the cleanliness of the line work. I also use an iPad with software like Procreate as well as Adobe Draw, and but mainly Procreate. I also have Affinity Designer on there, but that one gives me a much more hand-rendered illustration style and allows me to draw directly on the screen, whereas with the Wacom tablet, I'm actually drawing kind of off to the side of the screen, like down here below on like a mouse pad like area, if you're not familiar with that. And so, like I mentioned, I built up all these over the years, kind of added in new landmarks, and then this typography I've actually been developing for, it might be around almost close to 15 years now, where it's inspired by an old Chicago World's Fair poster, and I adapted it so it would say Cincinnati. And I really go back to a lot of the old posters for their inspiration, and I love the way that the typography is very flourishy and organic. So I try to capture a lot of that in my work. I like working in Illustrator, and well, one, it enables me to work in spot colors. So sometimes I'll do that, and then work out ways to quickly export each spot color so it can be its own plate for printmaking, whether that's screen printing or letterpress or something like that. But actually on this piece, what I did is I made the black and white lines in Illustrator and then exported that, and I went in, I colored everything by hand in actually in Procreate on my iPad. So it's much more like a coloring book style. But sometimes I'll have everything set up so it is an actual like Pantone swatch or something like that I have in Illustrator. And like I mentioned, I'll do separations that way. Then maybe sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a lot of shading and shadowing in Procreate. But here you can see it where it really helps build up, like I just shared. This is almost the way it would be printed on press. As you can see here, sometimes it takes kind of multiple days and many hours to illustrate some of these landmarks in Russia. And overall for this architecture deck, it was really cool where our intention was I would take and make this illustration, and then here, let's see here, and I can turn this off. Can I? Basically, I drew all this kind of nice, crisp and clean, and then I added in this effect. So I'm pretty excited. What I'm planning to do is release all of these as art prints in the future, maybe initially as download and print on your own at your home computer. So look for some of those. And what I love Illustrator because I can quickly make a lot of these. Like these are custom spot colors up here, so at any moment, if I want to, I can change one of these colors if I feel like it. Here we can go. We can make this a green if we want. And as I mentioned, that's great for printmaking. I also love it because I can change and work within certain line widths that are best for printmaking. Since this was for a US playing card, they had really great print tolerances. Their printers are amazing, and I can get a lot of detail. Um, and so overall, I illustrated full color like this, and what we did is we added this effect to it, and our intention was to kind of show kind of the hand of the architect and how this is kind of coming into kind of coming in from the design and into its fruition or its production, and that was really fun. So we can see, and this is what the overall deck looks like. Forgive me. This is so each one of these, some of them I was lucky if it would take me about 5 hours, but some of them are more like 15 to 20 for the very detailed buildings. And then imagine that by almost like 52 cards. And as you can tell, it's starting to really slow down my machine. Here's some of the kind of preview of all the the detail that goes into this. Or this is where I was really warping a pattern of the glass in that building in Mexico City. But then everything hopefully looks nice and clean when we're not in that mode. And if you're interested, actually these are for sale right now on Amazon. And as you can see, I purchased a couple of these. I purchased some for myself, and then I got them as Christmas gift for my family. But just look up. I think Bicycle Premium Playing Cards is kind of a weird title. I would even, or maybe call it Bicycle Architecture Playing Deck. Is that the official title? But if you can't find it, there is a link from my. I have a link tree in my Instagram profile, and that will take you to a link tree here, and then you can click on it to get to Amazon. And thank you. I hope this was interesting to see the digital aspect of my process. Thank you.